Hey, Meteor fans, welcome to, I don't know what we're calling this, I guess pairing with Sasha and Josh.
Sure.
We're, welcome, Sasha, I guess I should say that.
Hey.
Are you standing?
Yeah, I am. I'm trying out a standing desk,
Oh,
which
nice. I totally,
it's just
I just got
a
my
stool on
standing
top of
desk.
my regular desk, but
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I just totally got mine set up too. All right. Yeah, so I thought the focus today, it might be interesting to just look at performance stuff. So I was noticing um, that Crater is a little slow here and there, so like how could we maybe speed that up? And I saw a few things just on my initial go through, but wanted to save it for a video. Um, my mic doesn't reach on the new desk yet, so I got a new cable on the way. Um, so I thought it would be fun to kind of record this process, and maybe it'll help other people out, and also just to kind of see what pair programming is. Like I don't think you've done it before, have you, Sasha?
no, I haven't.
So I thought it would be interesting to kind of watch as it's happening and learn, kind of what it's about and why it can be beneficial. And so, I don't know the telescope code base as well as Sasha, but I do know how to kind of dive into performance issues. So he knows the code base. He can maybe point me to where things are. So, hopefully between the two of us, we'll kind of be thinking through things and working on things. And I thought that would be beneficial. So we'll see.
Cool.
All right,
So
I
I
will
tell you
share
what to
my
do, and
screen.
you do it. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me share my screen. Here we go. So I have Kadira already installed. If you're not familiar with it, you can go to kadira.io. Highly recommend it for this kind of thing. I've got it set up for Crater. Not sure why Trace Explorer is popping there. Um, so when you come in here, the first thing you see is kind of like what's going on real time in the site. I've got it's already pegged to 24 hours, so I think normally you'll see a 30-minute window. Um, so you can kind of see like we hover at like 85 sessions in the evening, peaked up to like 90, 91. Um, but our CPU performance is pretty good here, and seems like our memory holds pretty steady. But you can change it to a 24-hour window, which I would recommend, especially if you're diving into stuff like this. You can see our method response time today has actually been pretty zippy, and our publication response time has actually been pretty good too. Um, we may have to surf back a little bit to see maybe some spikes. But usually where I start when I'm doing this kind of stuff is looking at the pub subs, because I think that's where the majority of your data consumption is happening, and that's we've got wait-ons and subscriptions, so we're waiting on those to come back with something, and we kind of want to see things populate as that data comes in. So speeding these up, I think, would be the biggest win for us. So if we go over here to charts, you can see like I've got it sorted by response time, and then underneath it, so the green is the response time, and then underneath that is a gold bar here, and it shows you that's kind of like the sub rate. So 1.7 subscriptions per minute seems to be pretty tops here. So like this is the slowest response time and the highest subscriber. So I would think that this one would actually be a pretty big win for us. And you can go here, like we can see the spike right here at 644. If we click on that, you can actually see these traces down here. So we can click on this guy, and you can see we waited on 16 subscriptions. This first one is just like, this is core Meteor stuff, the client version. That's how the hot code push stuff works. But then categories and this looks weird to me because we're seeing like post list users, post list users. Like it's kind of weird that we're seeing those over and over again. We probably shouldn't. So maybe there's a problem there.
Yeah, looks like
Um,
it.
Yeah, maybe some kind of loop that's not quite working the way we thought it should. Um, and then down here, like you can see this using oplog. This is generally a good thing as well, so should be nice and fast. So you can see actually the query that we're doing right here. We were looking for a user. We are observing changes on a user. Actually, a bunch of users, excuse me. So the interesting thing here is we can take this user's ID in. We see the query. I'm using RoboMongo, by the way, but it should work with plain old Mongo as well. So we can just run, it's just an explain on that. And you get this feedback here that says that we've just done a cursor search. It's just a basic cursor search. It's not multi-key. We had to scan 5 objects in order to find them. Actually, I don't. This isn't. Is this telescope? Yeah, this is telescope. Okay. Just make sure. So it didn't hit on any indexes. So, but that's not quite what we did here either. So the search was actually more like ID. I think we gotta put quotes around that guy. We did a $in. So you want to try to replicate the query that you're looking at. Quotes around that guy too. And just give it an empty array. And you can see again, it did a basic cursor search. Still don't think that's right.
So what are
The
you
other thing
trying
you
to
could
find
do.
out right now?
So the goal is, oops, indexes. We want to see a different response on that. Mongo index explain. We want to see like a B tree cursor instead, and that tells us that we've hit an index, and that means it's going to be nice and zippy. Let's see if they show an example. Yeah, here you go. B tree cursor indicates when the query used an index, and then what you should see is the end scanned drops dramatically, so it doesn't have to scan the whole database table, right?
Okay.
Good
Yeah, I
question.
have to confess I've never really looked into like MongoDB beyond just, basic queries and like how to use it, but the whole performance aspect and scaling aspect, it's really pretty foreign to me.
Foreign, yeah. Yeah, I mean it was foreign to me too, but coming from like Rails and MySQL, it's maybe a little less foreign because I've done this kind of work in MySQL. So like the explain stuff is very similar in MySQL. You can run a query and then toss explain on it, and then or in the front of it, and then it gives you kind of like this output from the database telling you what it's doing. So we can see that doesn't look right to me. It says cucumber.users. I'm working off the cucumber branch. Yeah,
Maybe
so you
it's
can
a
see, like
topic
I just
for
called.
the next screencast. Testing.
Yeah, well, that's the topic for my next blog post at least. Yeah, so we can see we actually do by ID here. It's kind of funny. It's not. Oh, you know what? I'm in the cucumber instead of the meteor. That's why. Duh. There we go. Copy this query. And that. Still says basic cursor. That's really not what we want to see.
So what do we want to see?
We want to see B tree cursor come back. when we're looking at it. Let's close that guy, that guy, that guy. Um, so let's look at posts. You've got an index on IDs. So if I did like if we do an ID here, uh, ID equals blah, right? Like it won't actually return a search, but we can still run an explain on it and tell us what kind of thing it did.
Okay.
And you can see here, like it tells you it's a B
Oh,
tree
right.
cursor ID, and then the end scanned is at 1. Whereas if I take this away, we get the basic cursor, and you can see it had to scan 7 objects, which is much more inefficient, right?
Right. Is that
Especially
because
when
you
you
have
have
like,
like,
do you have the
go ahead.
whole CreatorDB in your local system, or?
Yeah, I mean this is all local, obviously, but and it like 7 objects is going to be zippy, but you know if we look at Crater, there's like thousands of posts in the database, so scanning through 1,000 posts is going to be a lot
Right.
slower.
So like what I mean is you have like 7 posts in your local database or something, or?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So if I just do a plain old find, whoops, you can see I've got 7 posts in
oh,
here.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So why oh why? Maybe I got to put something in here to get it to trigger right. 1. Yeah. Okay. So there is a cursor here. So
Cool.
this should be nice and zippy for us. So that's probably not a place. And that I kind of knew like that should be there because that comes from the accounts packages.
So I kind of
Um,
have a question though. Does it make a
yeah,
difference which um, which property you query on? Like if you're querying by ID or
yeah,
by user slug?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because if I say is it user slug?
I think it's just slug.
Just slug. So if
Yeah.
I say slug here, you'll see it'll change to just a basic cursor. So if you know we query by slug a lot, then yeah, you'd wanna index on that.
So maybe that's what's going on because I think in this case we're querying by yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, let's look at the code, right?
Yeah,
So maybe the post list is a good place to start.
sure.
Um, so GitHub
So the
telescope
publication would be in server publications and post list.
server publications post lists.
Yeah.
And I know I asked you this the other day because we're passing in these terms,
Yep.
and the question I had for you is like, what are these terms? And you
Right.
said it depended on like which type of front page, like what you're loading, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
And so if
like
we look at Crater, by default it's top.
yeah.
So my thought is like let's figure out top first.
Yeah, so the terms basically because you know like when you're doing posts dot find on the client and when you're publishing a cursor, a lot of the time you end up repeating the same kind of code, like the same object.
Hmm.
So terms is a way to avoid that and having like that object centralized in a single place.
Okay. So where can I look at like what the top code is actually
So in the
putting
base,
together as a term?
so in the telescope base package, that's where I define these objects. Yeah, base.js.
Base.js.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you scroll down a little, where is it?
Probably just
Yeah,
search for
right here.
top.
Oh, yeah, right there are views. So view parameters dot base parameters. That's like the basic
Okay.
object with the find and options, and then that can get overridden or rather extended with uh, the ones you see right there.
Okay.
So in essence, the top
So
view will be like the find will be status approved, and the options will be limit 10 plus sort sticky -1 score -1.
okay. So let's look at that. What is status approved?
It's 2.
2. Okay. So we'll just change this to a 2. Let's run that. I didn't like that. Let's. Oh, we need to get rid of this. So didn't like that. Try to get this guy working. I think we gotta put, because we're in the Mongo kind of console, we gotta put.
Right. So I've been working on a blog post about this terms pattern. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
it's like a common thing or if it's just my own invention, but I think it's pretty useful. Like when you
I've done something similar before where like you can build like the query up in the client, especially for like search stuff, and then like I've whitelisted it on the back end and kind of just let the client build what they want to see type of thing. Is that what you mean?
right, yeah, because but the issue here is you don't want to just like pass an object as the argument for the publication, right? Because like you don't want to pass an object that can be inserted into the find statement right away, because that
Mm,
opens up like
yeah.
a security hole. So that's the whole point of having these terms, because you can define uh, the terms that you want, and then there's a function that goes over that and generates the find object and the options object. So it's kind of a two-step process, but there's this validation step in there that's really important.
Okay. All right. So I just ran like the basic query. We should probably just fill it out the rest of the way. Um,
So
let's
the
try
cursor
limit
is a
5.
basic cursor. So it should be a
Yeah.
B-tree cursor.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. So if I run limit 5, I just want to make sure the limit stuff's getting in here right. It's not. Uh, how do I limit in Mongo itself? I don't know if it matters. Let's just try.
What if we
Let's
try
just
like
try.
just with status? Yeah.
So again, the explain tells us we scanned the 7 objects and it was a basic cursor. So what you can do.
So does that mean we should
Uh,
add an index on status?
yes, definitely. So the easy way to do that,
So
I
maybe
usually
this
just
is
have
a
like
dumb question, but why not add indexes on everything then?
they do cost you disk space, and they also slow down your inserts. So
Um,
I don't know if that's true of Mongo, but I know that's true of MySQL. The other thing is like if you had an index on everything, then I mean it's just like performing a regular database lookup, right? Like you just want to index the things that you care to query on particularly.
right. Okay, that makes sense.
Otherwise, you lose the benefit.
It's like in CSS,
So
if you put like important on everything, then nothing is important, right?
yeah, kind of. So I usually just make an indexes file. Are you okay with that, like in the server?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I was wondering also how if that can be managed through a simple schema. I guess it's kind of separate, but
Oh, yeah. Are you
that
using
seemed
simple
like
schema?
I don't think I didn't see anything about indexes in simple schema, but
Yeah, no, there totally is a bit in there about index,
oh,
I'm
it's
pretty sure. Yeah. I'm less familiar with it. I don't use it myself.
I really
Uh,
recommended that and Autoform. It's I feel like it's kind of the missing piece for large apps.
yeah, I don't like the syntax. Just seems off to me. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't think because I looked and there wasn't anything in there, but maybe that's an
I
idea for
could have
here.
sworn there was something. All right. Well, we'll do it the other way.
Yeah, sure.
So you can just call like let's see, is it posts or post? Do you know what's the
Post.
collection?
Yeah, with an
Posts
S.
dot
Yeah.
ensure index is the so it's kind of a private method, and I talked to Meteor Group about this, and they said that they feel like maybe they just didn't have time to get around to documenting the method, but it should be made public at some point. So um, I think if someone takes the time, then maybe we'll see that with no underscore in front of it soon. Um, Also, I noticed we have one viewer. If you have questions, feel free to use the. I think you just post questions right on the page, and it'll pop in here in the Hangout, and I can keep an eye on that. Um, yeah, so you just go to Insure Index, and gosh, I haven't done this in forever, so um, put on my own blog post that explains how to do it. Uh,
Nice
let's
T-shirt, by the
see.
way,
Oh, thanks.
on your photo right there.
Yeah, yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, blog posts are a really good way, like to remind yourself of something. But a lot of the time, that's why I write about the topic is that once I feel like I have a good grasp, it's a way to like freeze that moment in time, and when I need to come back, I kind of helps me a lot because I like some of this stuff I
Yeah,
completely forget. It's like a week after I learned it. So
totally.
like I remember
So
reading
what did
a
we?
post about wrapping Meteor packages, and I have no clue how that works anymore. So it's a good thing it's like all written down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, clearly, like I already did this, and it's kind of funny. I've already forgotten it from a couple months ago. Uh, but yeah, this is like all of this same stuff is outlined in this blog post here. How to optimize your Mongo database for Meteor. Yeah, so we just tell it the field that we care about, and then give it a one for that field. And I think you can use a comma, and you can specify multiple fields in your index as well. So if we're like looking at multiple fields for something, which may be the case, like we may need to just double check the sort and see if it's going to change anything. But now
Okay,
you can
cool.
see, like I saved that, it restarted the server in the background, inserted the index, and now you can see we're getting the B tree cursor. It still says scan 7 objects, which is kind of weird. But the other thing you can do, if you're using RoboMongo, you can open these indexes, and you can see there's one on status right here and one on ID.
Right.
Um, or if you're not using it, you can also just say like get indexes, and it'll return you all the indexes in your query here. So you can see like status is on there now. Um, and then when we look at our index bounds, it tells you like it used status to get there. Not sure what all this means, but so that should help a little. But we probably want to still try to construct the query to look a lot like the one that is going to run, which has limit and
Yeah.
sorting and that kind of thing.
Can Kalira
Uh,
like tell you the
come on.
exact query that's running?
I haven't. Let's go look again at Kadira.
What about
Oh
the
yeah, there you go.
final? Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, if you look at the observed changes, right? Like, so we had clicked on one before that was looking at the users. That wasn't quite the right one.
Yeah.
But this one is looking at the post here. So we just copy this guy, just like this. Oh, that's interesting. The posted at is less than or equal to? What
Yeah.
triggers that guy? Do you know?
So it
Is
would
it
be,
top?
um, right, right. So that's actually like to prevent from showing posts that are scheduled in the future.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, then that might make a difference as well. Um, yeah. Oh, okay. There's the sort stuff down there. Do they? Where's the limit? Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't show the limit in here. All right. So let's paste this guy in. Okay. We're still hitting B tree cursor.
So, but post to that doesn't have an index, right? So, like, how come it's still using B3 cursor?
Let's. Well, I think it still hits on the status, but we may want to put one on posted at as well. So let's. Like, is that always going to be there, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's let's drop that index and come over here and just try to do posted at oops one.
So why do you have to drop the index?
Cause I don't I just want to get rid of that one locally. Because when I
Okay.
save, it should rerun and add a new index back. Yeah. So here we go. You see it added the status one, posted at one.
Oh, but then if I were querying just by status, does that mean it wouldn't use that index? I guess.
I don't know.
Like,
We can try
do
that.
do we need like one
Oh, here
status
you
for
go.
it?
See, this is much better. See, now we're getting like
Oh, okay.
zero zero objects. That could be the timestamp that's doing that. No, it should still pull those back. Um,
Well, you can put a
but yeah,
timestamp like
let's
far in the
let's
future.
just see what this guy looks at when we run him. Yeah, it still hits
Okay.
that other one. So I think we're good there. Um, so let's see. Back to that guy. And then how do we? It's like the raw Mongo sort. Yeah, we just call sort on it. Let's go back to Kadira. We'll grab these sort options out. See if that changes anything. Nah, still says B tree cursor. I think we'll be all right. Okay, so that's posts. That should be a big win. And then post users, no, post list users. That's the other one we were looking at, right? Excuse me. Uh, Click this guy. Look at him. Look at the observed changes. This is the one we were doing the query on the ID in an array.
Right. Yeah, 3,000 milliseconds is really long. Um,
It is, but that's combined, right? So I think the post list users is maybe as fast as it's going to get because we're already hitting an index there according to what we looked at
Yeah.
before. But the real question is, why you can see like up here we start querying for the post list and then the post list user, right? But
Yeah.
then we do it 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
4 times on the
okay.
set and then a fifth time on post list.
So one reason, I don't know if that's the case here, but like in some views, like the daily view, there's like the page is broken down into components. So if you have like 5 days, each day will have its own subscription.
I see.
So I like it's good because you can like click load more on each day independently, and it's all self-contained. But I guess it does require more subscriptions, which might mean yeah, longer loading times.
Totally got a spammer here.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
That's a first. Or not.
Well, I guess Meteor apps are pretty easy to spam because you can just do it through the console. Like you can do it programmatically pretty easily. You don't need to train
Well,
a
you
bot.
still have to
Like
have a user, right?
yeah,
Gotta make the user.
actually, it's really good because it
All
gives me
right.
a reason to charge people for a service. Like I can create my own anti-spam thing and make that a pro here.
Like a
No,
kismet.
yeah. I was just listening to a podcast interview with Matt Mullenweg from WordPress, and he was explaining the whole thing, like how he launched Akismet and so on, was pretty interesting. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Do they don't charge for a kismet, do they? Or do they have like
No,
a paid tier?
but he
No.
was saying that was kind of the
So
launching point
missing
for
the
the
bus.
whole WordPress.com service.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I really wish there were a way to see the
Can we
URL
see
or something associated,
the route?
We can't, as far as I know. Oh, here we go. Top. No, it was totally top, but it
Okay.
was limit 180.
Huh.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, okay.
That's a big
If
limit.
you're trying to display 180 posts, it makes sense that it would be a little slow. I mean, I still
Yeah.
don't know why there's like
Well, here
five.
let's look. This one's a little zippier. Let's look at this one. Yeah, they're just looking at 20. Okay. But you know what? We're still making 2 calls here to post list. This
Yeah.
still doesn't seem right to me.
Well,
Um,
but one other thing with Aaron Router, like it's really cool and it can manage your subscriptions, but the reactivity means that a lot of the time things are getting called twice or more, and maybe that's what's happening here. Like
yeah, where's your router file at? Let me see what you have
in
broken
lib
out.
router, lib routing, no, lib router, and then posts.js. And yeah, so post list controller, subscription. So I need to remember how this thing works. Yeah, so I'm not using Wait on, and there's 2 subscriptions, one for the posts and one for the users of those posts.
Yeah, that should be fine though.
Like it depends on the search query session variable, so maybe that's making it run too many times for some reason.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's true. Uh,
I'll just add a console log here just to.
Yeah, I guess we could look like locally. I've got it running as well.
Lately, I've been thinking that I mean, Iron Router is a great piece of software, but I think it maybe tries to do too much. Like I've been trying to move subscriptions more inside the templates or
Yeah.
inside the template controllers or whatever you call it to lighten the load a bit and lighten the complexity of the routing code.
All right. I hit my standing limit. I'm gonna move my desk down.
So hmm,
All right. Uh, check the logs here. Hey, look at that. Like the search query, like causes that to rerun like 5 times.
yeah,
Huh. But I'm not even using a query right now, right?
yeah. So it's probably well, yeah. I guess that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
To be fair, like
Yeah,
this
that.
sort stuff shouldn't even be here because it's like managed by a package. So I need to find a way to like insert that into the query without having that code in the core because I'm trying to keep all the search code in the search package, all the categories code in the categories package, and so on.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's probably something I need to look at anyway.
Yeah. Still bugs me though. What, what could we do with that?
Well, what if you just take it out? Like, if that solves the problem, then at least we know that's where the issue is coming from.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm not in. Still think. Put it here and see if it cuts it in half. We lost our viewer. Yeah, so now it only runs twice rather than like 6 times. So that's kind of interesting. What happens if I move this out here and we just comment this code out? It runs twice. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, it definitely seems like it's causing that code to rerun more than once.
Yeah.
Which would definitely be a performance issue. All right. Well, do you want to like dive into it, or you want to like take this offline for refactoring, or?
Yeah, I'll probably do that later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think
we can look at a few more indexes real quick.
Hmm.
Well, the other interesting thing is you can look at the methods as well, right? And
Oh,
we can
right.
see if we sort these by response time,
Yeah,
the embeddly data is definitely the slowest. Same
that
thing
makes
with
sense
add
though, because it's
email
like
to,
an external call.
yeah, yeah, same thing with these
Yeah.
two. Like these are MailChimp. Logout, that's a little surprising.
Yeah, why are people logging out? No reason to log out.
What do you got? Uh, but what's slow about it? That's the real question. Excuse me. Sorry.
That's
Um,
lots of stuff.
it is doing a lot of stuff. I'm guessing.
Maybe it's because there's a few filters that like look at your login status to know if you have access to some routes or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like none
I
of
don't know.
this really looks ripe for refactoring. Everything's like 12 milliseconds. It's pretty
Yeah,
zippy. I think it's just like a ton going on when you log out, right?
yeah.
Oh, here we go. Upvote post. This seems like one that we'd want to be a little zippier. See if there's anything in there that's interesting. There's still no big gotcha in here. It's just a bunch of small queries that add up. So you can kind of see if you probably go look at the method. We do a find on the user,
Yeah.
and then those actually
If
get
they have upvoted
fetched.
the post already, and so stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like short of, I think the interesting thing here is you can look at these selectors and probably figure out like this upvoters might be a place where on the posts we kind of care about ID and upvoters.
Yeah.
Maybe let's uh let's copy this guy. We're already hitting a B tree cursor because we're searching by ID. So I think the way Mongo works, maybe based on this report we get back, is that it's gonna limit by the B tree cursor it could find, and then restrict it from there. So then it'll apply this other stuff to it. So maybe we don't have to do it there. But I guess we would have known that if I'd have paid attention here. Fetch on post, that's just grabbing the data. It's the finds that we care about. 0, 0, 0. Yeah, all this stuff looks like it's probably set up pretty well. Yeah, again, a lot of it's just relying on data to come back from the database, take some
Yeah.
time. Um,
Yeah. I guess I kind of tend to assume that database calls are free because it's the database, but yeah, they're not. I mean,
yeah, well,
I
and
wonder if there's
so
a way.
when we get into production, we're adding more latency on the wire, right? So
Yeah. I wonder if there's like patterns, coding patterns I could use to minimize the number of calls, like maybe do store more things in memory or fetch more and then like in anticipation of other calls. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I guess if we look at this, we do a find on users with the ID here, but then down do a fetch on the users again.
Right, because there might be some
Yeah,
cases
like
where, let's
let's
say, yeah, I'm
right.
passing, I'm querying for a user in one method and then passing the ID to another method which also queries for the user object. So maybe I could just pass.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Yeah,
I haven't,
yeah. I don't
like,
know.
yeah, I didn't consider that when I was coding that part, I think.
Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, it may speed it up a little bit, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn there. It's probably cleaner to, excuse me, pass IDs between methods.
Right. I mean, yeah, because like sometimes you're not sure if you're passing like objects, it can be harder to figure out what's going on exactly.
The other thing too, like this, we're doing a fetch on the users table ID in right here.
Yeah,
I wonder if you should just get the fields you care about, right? Because it took 28 milliseconds, but you probably didn't care about all those fields in that code.
right. Yeah.
So that may help as well. Hmm. I was hoping to find another index in here. We'll go back to the pub sub. What's this guy? This guy's really slow.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because it's just querying for every single user, but it
Oh,
only
okay.
happens
So,
for admins though. So it's like when you're, bringing up the user dashboard or stuff like that.
I see. It's just a lot of documents,
Yeah.
really. Yeah. Over 1,000 to be exact. Post comments. There we go. Comments by post ID. It's just comments like that. I didn't even ask. Can you? Probably pretty tiny for you, huh?
Oh, I
My
can read it.
monitor or my. Okay. Still font bump for the internet. ID one. And basic cursor. Again, that's still a semi-high sub rate on that guy.
Right.
That postless users, that really bothers me. Why is it the slowest? I don't know. I may tear into it when we get offline here. So now just make sure we fixed. There we go. Feature cursor. 0 scanned. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I'll probably have to head out soon.
Yeah, I'll just make this a pull request for you real quick.
Sounds good.
I wonder which I pulled this from. Yep, not the right one. Git remote. Show. I got a fork telescope. Well, I can do all this offline, but
Cool. Yeah.
I'll send you a pull request, and I'll probably copy this file over and deploy it to Crater here in a few minutes. And Kadir's pretty zippy, and data starts flowing in pretty quick, so I'll probably see of this within a few minutes. So
Awesome.
hopefully Crater seems zippier later
Yeah.
tonight.
Hope so.
All right, thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Sasha. We'll
Looking forward
we'll
to
do this
that,
again. Huh?
I'm looking forward to that redesign.
Oh,
Crater.
yeah. I gotta work on that. I've actually got someone that's interested in being an apprentice and kind of using that project as a way to learn more Meteor stuff. So
Oh, cool. Yeah.
we'll probably tear into that on an apprentice video in the next week or so.
Right.
Yeah, and then you said it might be interesting to do some SEO stuff as well, right? Or like Open Graph.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we can plan something next week and spend an hour kind of tearing into that.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Cool.
See you later.
See you soon.